I'm broken. I just want you to know that.
I'll say
this is gonna be fun.
I think it was a little bit more than a minute.
Shut up. 3, 2, and 1. What's up? Am I recording?
All right, you had your one shot, Taylor. You had your one shot. I'm out.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Come back. Come back. All right, here we go. What's up? Welcome to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll, and that is Father Anthony Daramuko Sciarappa. Father Anthony, how you doing today?
I normally pretend to hear your intro music and bounce my head around, and it's probably offbeat, but it's a fun gimmick.
I don't think you would dance off on beat if you heard the music.
That's neither here nor there. The point is that today, don't feel like doing it, Taylor. Just a little bit cranky because, I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, had my 7 o'clock mass, spent all day running around my parish, doing communion calls, meeting lovely people, but it's just an exhausting sort of thing. And I thought to myself, okay, you're tired, you're still not into the schedule of the parish, but 1 hour, record with your very good friend Taylor, and then you can take a nap. And then what happened, Taylor? Why haven't I been able to take a nap yet?
Because I will argue that I've been having a worse day than you.
Oh, no, I don't care, but my day hasn't imposed upon any people because I'm responsible.
My day I've imposed on everyone. I mean, I'm being imposed on, I'm imposing on people. It's this vicious cycle. Ironically enough, so I'm having to front load a lot of these. People heard last week when I was on with Allison, where Allison had to deal with me sleeping through our recording time. She was here. I was asleep. So I have never, you texted me worried for me because I wasn't here, because I'm always on time.
Always on time.
I'm always on time, and I gave you my all, so baby be mine. That's a Ja Rule reference for all of you, probably circa the year, I don't know, 2002. Anyway,
you're asking me about a Ja Rule reference? Come on, we know.
I was literally wondering what year it was, and now I have to know because the people need to know. Always on Time by Ja Rule. It was in the year 2001. What did I say?
2002, not bad.
Oh man, I missed it by months. I'm very impressed.
You've been missing a lot lately, haven't you?
What do you mean missing a lot?
Just getting times wrong, apparently.
Well, I mean, just not getting. I'm just exhausted because I'm working all the time. There have been multiple days this week where I start working at 8 or 9 in the morning, and then I'm like, this feels like a good time to stop, and I look at my phone, and it's 9 p.m. And I've done that 5 days in a row. So it's just been a long week. It's been a long day. I had to apologize to Allison. She was worried about me too, and then now you're worried about me, and I have just had to eat some humble pie, which is why I'm so fat recently, and because very rarely do I have to reschedule. I had already rescheduled with you once, and then I forgot about it. then I recorded literally recorded with someone else. I was right here, just not with you. It's been a day, man. It's been a day. Yeah. But you are almost as gracious as Allison was.
Yeah, I probably had more fun making fun of you than she did.
You did. So what are we talking about? Are we doing a show? Have we hit record yet?
Yeah, we did all that after your first false start. And here we are.
I mean, we got to the Ja Rule content. That's all I was really worried about.
Aren't you going to ask me about where I'm recording from, Taylor?
No.
Okay, never mind. I'm trying to help you out here. You gave me the game plan. I'm just kind of tossing you a softball, and you're just no.
I did. Yes. So this is your first episode recording since you have been in your new parish. The last episode we did, I was sitting right next to you. We were in Pittsburgh at your brother's house. We had an absolute blast.
It was fun.
If you missed that episode, it's probably the best one we've ever done. Oh, by the way, I know what I was forgetting.
Okay.
I sang Ja Rule before I mentioned. This is episode 250.
Wow.
It's a special.
It's special in so many ways.
It really is. We got to Ja Rule. We just hit 150,000 views across all of our YouTube and podcasts. But
Wonderful.
Let's lead with Ja Rule, and then I'm tired of having a bad day.
Yes. Good.
So this is your first time recording with me since you've been in the new parish, and because you're in the new parish, I wanted to give you some distance and some time. So I a lot of times we come on here, we talk about stuff that we talked about already under the guise of we hadn't talked about it. I actually don't really know. I know you're generally a happy boy, but you were like a sad boy the last few times that I talked to you, because you were like, how do I say this? You were looking forward to a new endeavor. And then you got that new endeavor, and then you were sad, and I was so confused by that.
Yes, it was time for me to move on from my parish. That being said, I very much love the people there. I love my ministry. And so while the new assignment was a very good assignment, the one I'm at now, saying goodbye to everyone and getting all these, it was a lot bittersweet because people would send me these really nice letters about either a communion call or anointing or a funeral or a wedding I did, saying how much it meant to them. And it's like, oh, it was really great because I'm doing a good job as a priest. I'm also sad I'm leaving these people. It's very complicated, lots of feelings. So that was part of that. And then I jump into this new parish. I know the two priests here very well. And people keep asking me, Father, have you settled in? No, I haven't settled in at all.
Of course you haven't settled in. I have not. I have talked to you twice in the last month. It's going to take this guy a while.
Yeah, so I'm still in the guest room because the previous priest, who's a good friend of mine, just would not move out. All of his stuff was in there for forever. And now they finally painted it, and I'm moving in hopefully within the next week or so. And it's just you can't. It's like being thrown into a rushing river. And it's like, okay, go, do stuff. And don't get me wrong, the priests, the staff, they've all been very helpful and very good. There's just a lot going on here. A lot more confessions, a lot more adoration, a lot more communion calls, more masses.
You've said the word communion call 4 times already, and I've never heard of it before today. And apparently you're doing a lot of them now, because it's all we've heard since you started talking.
Yeah, so that was on my mind today, because I did 4 of them today.
I'm not joking. I've never heard that. And I'm guessing it's just someone calls and what's communion. Yes, they're not dying in the hospital or infirm.
No, it's usually people homes, shut-ins and stuff. And a lot of times we have a bunch of Eucharistic ministers, lay people who do this. But here we also want to make sure the priests do it as well, which is very nice because, I can hear confessions and anoint while I'm there. So we do that. We have a list of people that we see once a month. And so it's just new for me. I've done that before when people have called, but now it's more of an institutionalized thing of this parish, which is great. Met all kinds of fun people. Tell me about the parish and everything. So that's what's on my mind. So doing that and just getting used to new church buildings, how to lock up the church buildings, all the new keys I have. Also just the annoying stuff you have to do when you move, you change your address, subscription things.
Update your donation to fortecatholic.com.
Update my donation to fortecatholic.com. My mom is my interior decorator for my new place, so coordinating with her. She's very excited about doing that job. And so it's great. I love it here. It's been very good. Of course I miss everyone at my old place, but it's off to a good start. So I am indeed a happy boy.
Good. I'm glad you're a happy boy, because I've been worried about you for 3 months. So
it's fair.
I'm glad that you are a happy boy and that things are going well at the parish. I got to go into that church when I came to visit you last month.
Oh yeah, I showed you real quick. Yeah,
dude, it was beautiful. I was dressed terrible. I was literally wearing this shirt, the Pizza Planet shirt.
So you were.
Yeah. I was in because. That was we talked about it on the last episode that you were on a month ago, episode 2, I don't know, 46, if this is 250? Probably. I don't know, whatever, somewhere around there. Just find our faces. And we talked about it with the whole story of why I didn't have nice clothes on. We kept going to these nice places, and I totally blame you. But we went into this nice church where they're about to have a wedding, and I look like a schmuck.
We're just walking around.
But it looks just like a lovely place, and I was really happy for you. I think I was happier for you. there was supposed to be all this happiness in this situation, and I got all of it on behalf of you, and you got none of it for a while. So I'm glad that it has shifted over to you a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things about a priest's life that you do move a lot, and you make these connections with people. And even if you get a good opportunity at a new assignment, it's just tough. It's just a lot. It's beautiful. It's sad. It's all these things. So yeah, there's just a lot on my mind when we were hanging out. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was a good time. But speaking of being in a church and in mass,
okay,
this is how I want to. I wouldn't say start today's show because we all know today's show started with Ja Rule. Most importantly, I was going to make another Ja Rule reference, but my brain is dead because I'm exhausted. So I literally just like froze, and I was like, "What's another Ja Rule song?"
So what this podcast needs is more Ja Rule content. And so you're digging, you were mining for it, but just came up empty. That was sad moment.
Well, I looked confused, and you were just mesmerized. There you go. That's a Ja Rule reference. I did it. 18 seconds late. So, I was at mass recently, and
good for you.
This might
proud of you.
Well, you might not be after I continue this story.
Okay.
So, kids in mass has always been a topic of conversation in a parish, but even more so, I've seen it like on the internet. And I think, especially for a lot of people, my age, our age that have kids. That's why I said me first, because you don't have any, I hope. And like, there was this like. A lot of kids were not welcome at mass, like babies crying and toddlers eating Cheerios and crawling on pews and stuff. Like all that was like so unwelcome in Catholic culture that the pendulum has swung so much where like everybody is saying like, if your parish isn't crying, it's dying. If let the children come to me like all wild and crazy and running on the altars and all this stuff. I think the pendulum has swung so far that way.
Yeah.
That a lot of parents my age have heard that and think it means something that I don't think it means. And here's what brought this up.
All right.
I was in mass the other day, and I won't say where, but I only go to mass in one place, so I'm sure the smart people can figure it out. And a few rows in front of me, I really hope these people don't listen. I doubt they will, but whatever.
Well, this is the last episode they'll listen to, so.
Well, I hope they hear what I have to say about this first. Because, golly, dude, I have my 3 own kids. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old. They're squirmy. They talk. Like I've had 3 babies in mass. I've had 3 toddlers in mass, and now I have like an range of like late toddler to like, kid. And like I get that it's hard as a parent, and every time your kid makes any noise, does anything weird, pulls the kneeler down, like no matter what people are doing, even like you're being judged, like 100%. So sure. I get the sentiment of like, we need to be nicer to parents. But I saw a fruit of this last week, where there is a family two pews ahead of us that had 4 girls. One was like a baby, like super quiet because like pretty newborn, right?
Okay.
So like this family is a family in crisis. Like I get it. I'm not like completely judging them, but I'm definitely judging them at least 80% because they're 4 girls. I would guess from like 3 to 8. So like mostly my kids' age. Were just terrible, man. Like they were terrible. Like yelling. It's for an hour mass. They were yelling in mass, like talking at normal child volume, which
is yelling,
which isn't Taylor volume, but it's loud when it's quiet in mass, right?
Yeah.
Crawling over the pews, picking up the hymnals and like moving them and dropping them and throwing their hairbands, literally at the point where how like, well, you probably don't because you're up on the altar, but like when people kneel in kneelers, you're kneeling, so like your body is up against the pew in front of you. And the kid there were 2 girls standing there like 4 inches from this lady's face, picking their nose and putting it in their mouth 4 inches from this woman's face while she's praying before communion. And the parents did nothing for an hour. And I left this angry. I'm still mad about it. It was a week and a half ago. And parents, I don't want to judge you, but I'm judging these two. Parent your kids. Made me so mad.
Oh boy.
Ah!
You done? You good? You good there? You done?
Okay, your turn.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point. Well, the first thing is, I mean, these conversations about kids at mass, they happen on the internet, and we're not allowed to have nuance on the internet. It's actually illegal. So yeah, maybe the pendulum has swung too far. There's always a chance, the family, they just had a bad day, and the parents gave up that day. I think every parent, sometimes you just give up. Like, even families that have, like, very strict screen times, sometimes they just give up and, like, here's an iPad, go away for 2 hours.
Oh,
so,
you just got me even more angry. My son figured out the screen time password and has been using it himself. You're just making me more angry. You're supposed to be calming me down.
Okay. Well, that was unintentional, but okay. So maybe it was a bad day, and that happens to everybody. But yeah, well, for example, the other day I was preaching at the parish, and it was a weekday mass. We have this first Friday mass, and so it's not completely full, and that big cavernous church. And as soon as I started preaching, this little kid in the front row, little baby, just started screaming. And normally I'm very good at ignoring kids' voices or anything else. You just preach, you do your thing, you get used to that sort of thing. But it was just one kid screaming, and I could not focus. I wasn't mad. I just could not keep my train of thought. And, that's not necessarily the parents' fault or the kid's fault. But yeah, in that scenario, you should probably take your kid outside. That's a thing that sometimes you have to do. Not every little peep, not every little, squeaky voice or whatever. That's fine. And also, yeah, it is the parents' job, and it's a sacrifice, and it's incredibly difficult. And I'm glad it's not my job. That you have to work on teaching your kids what the mass is, and that's something you have to do week after week after week. So yeah, you can't let your kids climb over. We had a scenario like this when I was a seminarian. We would visit parishes, and we visited this one parish where this kid was literally going under the pews. It really was. We took over. We kicked everyone out of their jobs. We were the servers. We were the readers, and we still had some extra seminarians left over. And this little kid was literally crawling under the pews, biting people's shoes.
Nice.
It's like, at that point, which was, in retrospect, hilarious and also gross. It's like, you should do something. You should be a parent in that case. Like, right. Jimmy, you can't bite people's shoes for lots of reasons.
Go for the ankles. It's their weak spots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's fair. We have mercy, but also we do our jobs the best that we can. I think that's okay.
Yeah. So I feel like my job in Catholicism is to bring the pendulum back to the middle. I just so much of how I think and feel is in the middle, right? You have the charismatics and the trads. It's like, how about you just be Catholic, which allows for both,
yes.
And then with the parenting thing, it's like, we should not be shaming parents for babies doing baby things, for kids doing kids things.
Right.
I've been on the receiving end of that, and it's not fun. Old people staring at you because your kid, went, goo. And it's like, okay, I'm not talking about that. But the kids were literally fighting. They were girls punching each other. One was over the rail, and I was reaching out my arm. The person in front of him caught the kid falling. You've got to okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. And you need to parent your kids and teach them about the mass and how to behave in mass. Is that going to take years? Yes, I know it takes years because I have my own, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, I think the thing that bothers me is mass is for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And including parents with young kids. They shouldn't, on one side of the pendulum, no parent should ever feel unwelcome or guilty for bringing their kid sitting in the actual parish. You don't have to go to the Chi room if you don't want to. It's there if you want it. But sitting in the parish, kids make noises. That's fine. But on the other side, it's you need to shush your kids or discipline your kids. I don't know. I met your parents. They were lovely people. I don't know how they parented you guys when y'all were kids. Apparently it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
But like I got the dad glare. I got the mom side eye. Like we were going to act right. Now, was I paying attention? No. But you know what I wasn't doing and what my parents didn't allow me to do? Ruin Mass for everybody else, right?
Right.
You need to be here because that's what we do in this family, but you don't need, like, I can't make you participate and talk to Jesus, right? Like, I can't force you to do that. I can bring you here and make you sit here for an hour, but like other people are trying to talk to Jesus. And like a coup or whatever, there's a balance, right? Because like me as a person, without
like my parents let my brothers and stuff. I remember this, bring Cheerios to Mass because they're little, not receiving communion, but they also cleaned up the Cheerios when they were done.
Right.
Like, it's that balance of things. Like, yeah, absolutely. And if I wasn't afraid of God, because I was in a church, my dad put the fear of God in me pretty quickly. It's just
So yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I even thought like Cheerios at Mass is a pretty common thing. I can see people getting like kind of frustrated with that. Oh, you have food in Mass or whatever. But it's like at some point it's with the really little kids. Like at least how we have done it is like, look, I'm gonna give like Chris. He prepared for his first communion, got his first communion last year, and so like now like we make him like pay attention and like. He doesn't have all the stuff now. He doesn't have the Cheerios. Right. He doesn't get to write and stuff. He doesn't get to like bring his Pokemon book anymore. Like he has to pay attention. He follows along with the readings with me. He listens to the homily. He zones out probably as much as I do, if not less. Yeah. But like we make him kneel and pay attention. Like he's a participant in Mass now. But the girls, like we bring they each get 2 markers, 2 different colors, and they bring their notebook and they draw and they color because. Sure. They're 5 or 6 and 3. Are they really going to get anything out of Mass? I don't think so. But we have taught them to be quiet, to stay focused on that. Every now and then, like they'll come sit with me and pretend to listen or whatever. But like for the most part, that's their activity, so that they're not ruining the experience for those behind us, in front of us, that sort of thing. So I think we just need to find the balance. And like, there's not a perfect thing that if everybody had to do the one thing, we could say, here's what you do with this age and this age. There's not a perfect thing, but it's like. We need to find the balance between parents and families are welcome at Mass and don't ruin it for everyone within a 30-foot radius.
Yeah, I think what we learned is that Taylor is a perfectly balanced parent.
I really am. I'm neither good nor bad. I'm right in the middle. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Oh man, are we having some fun over on the YouTubes, youtube.com/Forte Catholic. Every Wednesday, like clockwork, this podcast that you know and love and 3 of you hate. And I don't apologize at all for that. But we also, every Monday, or mostly every Monday, sometimes I get busy, but we are doing a Catholic Perspective series. So that's where I take some time to look at some of my favorite things from pop culture and share my thoughts on them. So recently we've been doing the Disney Plus TV shows that have been coming out this year. So over the last few weeks, the next few weeks, we've got Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, WandaVision, The Bad Batch, maybe even Space Jam 2. All of these great things that have been happening over on Disney Plus and our streaming services. So if you want to hear a Catholic perspective on that and hear me rant and rave why I either love or hate those properties, you can do that all at youtube.com/Forte Catholic. And also on Fridays, we've been releasing on YouTube and on the podcast our, Forte Flashback series. So looking back at old moments from the show that have meant a lot and led to where we are on the show now, primarily starting off these first 5 weeks with our co-host and their first appearance as guests. So if you would, hit that subscribe button on youtube.com/Forte Catholic, more than just a podcast. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Stroll, and that is still Father Anthony Dwayne Sciarappa. Father Anthony, do you think the last segment was controversial or no?
I don't think so. I think basically anybody who didn't agree with you is just a bad parent, and I don't think there's anything controversial about that.
I agree with you, but I think that's controversial. I agree with my point. Your point about me. I've got another one that might be semi-controversial.
Yes.
At least you thought it was, because I think
I think you're bringing up something controversial. And my job is to bring things back to the middle.
Why don't you just meet me in the middle? That's Ja Rule. It's not Ja Rule.
You just every song that pops in your head, like, oh, that's Ja Rule.
Star Spangled Banner, written by
Ja Rule.
I just heard Ja Rule singing the national anthem in my head. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Here's what I have to say that might be controversial. And some of the things that I say on this show are tongue-in-cheek. And maybe I believe them, maybe I don't, in order to have a conversation. I would like to preface this by letting you all know this is not one of those situations. I 100% believe what I'm about to say.
I wish you didn't frame it like that, but okay, here we go.
I really, really do.
Time for me to admonish the sinner. This is going to be my job. Go ahead.
Some of our greatest heroes in Catholicism, some of our greatest heroes are the martyrs. They died for their faith. Like, the red martyrs, they bled. The church says that that's like pretty much a ticket straight to heaven. If you die for your faith, you're good. They're some of my favorite people in Catholicism. Not the martyrs themselves, but that usually these martyrs die with other people. And it's like Saint so-and-so and companions. I've talked at length that the only way I'm getting to heaven is by being one of those companions. Here's my issue. I do not understand why, as a Catholic, if someone was saying, hey, are you a Catholic? Yes. Well, you need to renounce that or we're going to kill you right now. If you denounce your faith, you're free to go. If you don't denounce your faith, we're going to kill you right here. I do not understand why I have to not denounce my faith when I can be like, yeah, just say whatever they want to hear. Sure, buddy, I denounce my faith. That's fine. And then I'm free to go. I just drive to my local parish and go to confession because all my other sins are denying Jesus. Why is this one any different? There you go.
Okay, so let's start. There's different angles that I'm going to talk about this. First of all, let's just do something historical. This was a real problem in the church early on. Because when the church was being persecuted early on, there were those who, and it'd be very simple stuff, like put a grain of incense into the censer for this pagan god and you can go. And there were Christians who would not do that and they died for their faith. And there were others who did. And then after the persecutions died down, they were like, can we come back? Now, you can imagine that the Christians who lived in fear for their lives, who had family members who died for their faith, they were none too pleased with this.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that they just had smaller brains. But yes, keep going.
No. So you can understand why the community would be ticked off. Like, you denied the faith, you walked away, and those who were faithful died because of this. And so there were a lot of Catholics who thought that once you denied your faith in that way, you should not be allowed back in the church. Now, the church decided...
Real Christian of them, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, put yourself in their shoes for a moment, Taylor. Like, you understand why they're like... And this is, I mean, we're still discovering what the church meant as this was going on, right?
My brain's always weird, but it's even more weird today because I'm exhausted and delirious.
Yeah.
But you said put yourself in their shoes, meaning like in their brain. But I literally thought about their shoes, and I'm like, I can't. My plantar fasciitis will act up. Not enough support.
Yeah, just like flat sandals won't work. Yeah. Okay. But the church, did decide that, yes, you can come back. But the penances were very severe. So, yes, you could be forgiven.
One Our Father, 3 Hail Marys.
No, it was like months and years of penance to get back, right, with the church because it was such a big deal. Okay. So there's that little historical background. Another thing is and a lot of Catholics, even well-meaning Catholics, fall into this legalism of our faith, that the rules are just these arbitrary rules that are made up. Now, it's important to say that there are certain rules that the church can dictate. For example, no meat on Fridays during Lent. That is a church law. It is, in a certain sense, a man-made law, right? They could change that. There's spiritual reasons for it, historical presence for it, but okay. But when we begin to treat everything as like this zero-sum game, like Jesus points, where the end goal is get to heaven or not, you've destroyed the faith. Because this isn't about getting the right answers or following the tricks, or if I say so many novenas, that gives me so many Jesus points. This is about a relationship with Jesus Christ, who is a real person who suffered and died for us. And we can very easily get wrapped up in all the rules of the church, forgetting that that's not what this is about. The rules are in service of this relationship with Christ. So the idea of like, well, I can just bend the rule here and then go to confession and be good. There's something missing in the relationship with Christ there. Okay. And like I said, a lot of Catholics fall into this. Okay. Good so far.
I have many responses, but I'm just letting you go.
Okay. Another thing is that you said, well, any kind of sin is denying Jesus. Well, I think you would agree there are different levels and different kinds of sin, right?
Yeah, and I think I do ones way worse than this one.
But you actually, this is a very direct betrayal of Jesus Christ. It's keeping in mind that someone who betrays that is betraying their lack of faith in the resurrection, the one thing that Jesus came here to do. It's saying in a way that's far more definitive, outright, with the use of the will, no to Jesus Christ. That is a big deal. And then assuming that you can just go to confession is another sin of presumption. You're abusing the sacrament. So not only are you abusing the sacrament, you are denying your faith in Jesus Christ, denying the resurrection in this very outright way. It's also what are the biggest sins that we remember from Scripture? Like the biggest ones are people denying Christ on the cross. It was a source of shame for the apostles. And yes, you can be forgiven.
You are making my point for me, but please continue.
Okay.
You walked right into my Jesus on the cross trap.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Speaking seriously, if we view these things as traps, if we view these things as rules, then we need a huge conversion of heart. There's something very wrong.
On that, we agree. I do need a conversion of heart.
Yeah, because and it's these tolerance for these little sins that we do in our lives, saying that this is okay, or this is just a rule, or this is whatever, that it wears down and numbs the heart. And there is no guarantee that even if you go to confession, do you really repent of that? Do you really repent of that? Because you can go to confession, the priest can take you at your word, and you can still be damned. To have true contrition for that. And if you're just treating the whole Catholic thing like a game, you're not headed towards Christ, and that's really serious. So that's why these things are so serious.
Okay, I took notes for my rebuttals. I feel like we're in a court of law, and I'm the defendant. Yes, that's the person on trial. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go in order. Not order of what I think are the best arguments, but the order that you went in.
Sure.
Jesus denying Peter. Or whatever. The opposite way around. I'm very tired. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Yeah. Peter denying. He did it 3 times in 4 minutes, and Jesus came back as "You're forgiven. Be the Pope now." So I'm like, I don't know. It's a pretty good. If we look at the saints as being our models, I'm not saying that denying him was a good choice. But he got back into the fold and was leading the fold after, just a few days. So that seems to bode well. The other thing about relationship that I hadn't thought about, this is not one of my, I've thought about this a lot, and I've thought about the rebuttals a lot. So I have rebuttals to the rebuttals. The one that I didn't think about was the whole relationship thing. You have a relationship with Jesus. But if somebody came up to me and be like, do you love Father Anthony Sciarappa? In my heart, I'm yes. But if you say yes, we're going to kill you, I'm going to be then no. And then I would leave and call you and we'd laugh about it.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm also not God though. Even though I look like Jesus with my hair, my beard and everything.
You look homeless. You
know, I look beautiful.
When Jesus
You're
said,
so jealous.
You will find me in the poor. That's what you look like. That's the best way you look like Jesus. You brought up repentance, the whole. I think the conversation about I and confession gets brought up anytime. And then the whole perfect contrition and unperfect contrition. I know that I sin and I can go to confession, or at least that I know that I have the desire to go to confession. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I know that I need to go to confession today. If I don't make it today, I get hit by a bus tomorrow when I could have gone the next day. Okay, I get that that's there. But the contrition thing I think is fascinating because I don't think I'm ever. there are very few sins that I have been perfectly contrite about saying sorry for.
Sure.
And the way that I know that is because I have stopped doing those particular sins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I say that, like, there are a lot of sins that I have been doing since I was a child, and then I have said them in every confession that I've been to. I think everybody has their list, right? I am imperfectly contrite for those things, because in my mind, I know even at the time, or even there have been some times of like extreme grace around confession where I'm like, I literally think I'm never going to do this sin again, and then 2-3 weeks later, maybe, I mean, that's a long time, I'm back doing it again. But like, there have been, I have had times probably of perfect contrition, but like 95% of my confessions, I'm in there knowing I'm going to be back here in a month saying the same thing, right? But I think the last point, and I think the most important point, or the point that strikes the most for me, is the definition of a sin. You know, what do you have to do to commit a moral sin? It has to be grave matter. Is denying Jesus publicly grave matter? 100%. I'm not denying that at all. Like, I get that that's a huge thing. But what did I say? Grave, is that where I started? Grave matter, full knowledge. Like, I know that denying Jesus is wrong. It's that third piece that really, that makes me feel like it would be okay. And we can talk about circumstances. It makes me feel okay in most circumstances to deny Jesus at that time, because you have to give full consent of the will. And like, literally the example that we use for full consent in a joking manner is a gun to the head, your shotgun wedding, right? Yeah. It's not a real wedding. You didn't, like, kill this person, I'm going to kill you. Either way, it's the person with the gun's fault, right? So like, am I still culpable? Yes, but I'm not fully culpable for that, because I don't have the free will. Do I have the free will to make a decision? Yes, I can choose whether or not to deny Christ or to not deny Christ, right? But that situation is being forced on me to where I don't have the full capacity of my free will to make that decision, which is why it's kind of grayer for me than I think it should be.
Yeah. Thing is, you do. And this is what a lot of theologians said, like, Peter committed a mortal sin. Was he afraid for his life? Yes. But he had full control of his will. In that moment, he could choose. Yeah, there's fear there, but like, and like, when we talk about culpability and mortal sin, a lot of times we're talking about habit, and habit, especially now we have a good understanding of what habit does with the mind and the brain and that sort of thing. But it's very easy to push that into like, no, you did have control of your will. There was nothing forcing you to say yes or no. You chose that. And we have to take our will a lot more seriously, because as soon as we start bargaining with our will, saying like, well, in this scenario, I guess I'm scared, so I don't really have control of my will, so I can go to confession. That just proves that, yeah, your intellect and will is working just fine, and you were in a very active way not choosing Christ.
You just accused my intellect of working well, and I would like to push back on that comment.
Yes, sir. Well enough, right? It's not saying that the faculty of using your intellect, not necessarily being smart. There's a difference. Anyway, there's a difference there, and we need to take that very seriously. And like I said, eating the 25th Oreo cookie is a little bit different than saying, no, I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I renounce my faith.
I can't believe that I said that privately to you in confession. You just broke the seal.
We both know that I have never
you have heard
forgiven you for any of your sins. We proved that.
You have heard half of a confession, and that was
it. Go back in the archives to figure out that context.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that for sure here in the next few weeks.
But I think that's one of the big problems, that like we don't take our will seriously enough. Like, yes, you are choosing this. Yes, it is a moral sin. Yes, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to repent of that.
And I guess that's where I'm wrong. I mean, it has to be, right? Because because I believe what I'm saying, knowing that every martyr has been a Christian hero, and we don't have a hero, I guess, other than Peter, that we know publicly denied Jesus and then came back. There's probably stories that everybody else is thinking about. That's the only one that can pop to my brain, because we've already established my intellect isn't working today. But like, I get what you're saying. I've been thinking about free will a lot because of Loki. That video went out a few days ago.
Sure.
I've been thinking about free will a lot, and it's like, I guess it's the two things that are like opposed in my mind right now is that ultimately do I have the ability in that situation if I had a gun to the head, do I have the ability to say yes or no? 100%, 100%. But at the same time, it's like I think there's still not all that culpability for that decision on me because I'm not the one pointing a gun to my head.
Right. I mean, it's not your fault you're in the situation. And can God and does God have mercy on us? Yes. But God doesn't have mercy on us unless we've done something wrong. And this is horribly wrong. And yes, the cross can cover that and heal you and bring you out of that. But we can't, because a lot of times when people, I love this question because what you're asking, I know hundreds of thousands of Catholics have thought this. This has gone through my mind before. Everyone's like, well, why don't you? There was a whole big controversy with that one movie where a guy stepped on an icon, and this brought up this conversation again. So it's a good conversation to have. It's good to be honest about these things.
I'm real confused how those two things connect, but I guess I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, it was like instead of putting a grain of incense or denying Christ, his test was like to step on an icon.
You need to step on. I got what you're saying. I was like, that just sounds like an accident. I was very confused.
Right. It was not like, oh no, I dropped my icons. I have too many. I step on a Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little different.
I like how we both went immediately Italian because I was about to do the same exact thing.
Right. So yeah, it's a good thing to have. But yes, we do have our will, and this is a very serious sin. I was coming to some sort of point, but I mean that's it. So it's God can have mercy on us, but it's because we've done something wrong. And a lot of times when we play these games, we're like, well, and people do this in confession all the time. Like, oh, I yelled at my brother, but he was pushing me, and so it's like, did you sin or did you not? You know you sinned.
Yeah.
You know this was wrong. You have to accept that.
And see, I don't have that problem in the confessional. Like when I'm in the confessional, like I own up to the crap that I did.
Yeah.
Right. And I think even if this situation happened, I would own up to it really. Like I get that I know it's wrong. Most of my sins.
And there's a difference. I mean, there's another thing going on is that like, yes, these sins of like, gossip and stuff that we all kind of struggle with in different ways, or habitual,
You watch your mouth.
The the sins of the flesh that we worry about very much. That sort of stuff is
cannibalism.
That is, yeah. Being aware that you are fallible, being aware that you're weak, being aware this is a problem in the past is different than saying, I really want to not do this in the future. People confuse that. They're like, I think I probably will. So do I really want to amend my life? It's like, yes, you can. Now, if, for example, in that situation, there are certain apps you need to delete and you don't delete them, that's not firm amendment of the will, right? There does have to be
the internet.
Yeah. Or like,
internet.
We all need to use the internet or else we couldn't have podcasts and then, what's the point of living? But you might need to, that you have to turn off your computer when it hits 10 o'clock at night, right? Firm amendment of the will. That's different than...
I've never sinned during the daytime.
Yeah, never. Like it's too busy to sin. I have to edit the podcast. I don't have time. So it's these things that people get tripped up on, and it's sad because they despair because like I really think I'm going to do this sin again. Can I have firm amendment of the will? Like yes, you can. You have to make that distinction. It's an important one. And also a lot of times we say that we're sorry for our sins, but we never pray for the grace like constantly to not do them. Like, if you pray every day, like, Lord, especially for chastity, you gotta pray for that every day. And there's concrete steps you need to take. But anyway, this is, I think I've said all the things I need to say.
Last caveat.
Okay.
The only time that I think that I would think about staying is if it was like, sometimes they take these people and then they live stream it. Maybe if it was live streamed and they were like, then I'd be denying God in front of a bunch of people and they were getting their win that way. I think maybe then I'd let them kill me. But if it was just like I'm walking out of a Dillard's and they're like, hey, are you Catholic? We're going to shoot you right here. And it's just me and, Tony, the guy who's putting the gun to my head. I'd be like, "You're weird, Tony. Sure, God's not real. Bye." Like, I don't know. I think the whole public scandal and I don't know.
Sure. I think that's a thing. And since you're not on radio, let's just keep going for it. Just a second here. The most painful moment of Peter's life wasn't when he was being crucified upside down.
Did you ask him this?
Trust me. The most painful moment in his life
pretty painful.
was when Christ looked at him after he got denied. Like, this is real stuff. And even though Jesus was going to have mercy on him, realizing that he had betrayed his heart on this intense, utmost level was the most painful thing for him. So we can't play games with that kind of thing. Okay, now for real, I'm done. I think it was a good conversation. I loved it. It was great.
I wonder if Peter would have had the strength of will to stop denying after 2, and then the cock crowed. He's like, "Yes, I only did it twice." So what I learned from that story is that if I'm being pulled up by gunpoint with this scenario, I can do it twice, but not 3 times, because then there's going to be a chicken, and I'll be sad.
Fine, Taylor. Fine. End the segment on that. Good. Yes, you're right. If it's only 2 times and there was a chicken, you would feel just fine about it.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Ridiculous.
So those of you that have been listening for at least the last year or so know how much COVID absolutely changed my life. I switched jobs to doing this full time. And that was a big financial hit for me and my family. But we have a lot of monthly supporters that support the ministry that we are doing. And, COVID, we're not the only ones affected by COVID. We know that a lot of people had to stop giving or can't give because of COVID and life, and these things happen. Because of that, we've had a few of our monthly donors for a few different reasons have to drop off over the last couple of months. So we need your help. If you are in a place where you are able to be generous financially, we could really, really use your help, especially to close out this year. The way to do that is fortecatholic.com/donate. If you want to support great Catholic media, or, at least above par Catholic media, we would love for your support. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so the government approves of us. So all of your donations are tax deductible, and we send out receipts for those. So thank you guys in advance. Thank you to all the donors who have been with us for the last year, and for those who were with us even beforehand, back when I was a missionary. So thank you guys so much. Again, that's fortecatholic.com/donate. If you could support us with a one-time gift, that would be tremendous. And those monthly donations really help cover our cost. So thanks. Bye. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I'm Taylor Schroll, and that man feels defeated.
You could introduce me like that literally every show.
Oh, man. We could have had that conversation for an hour and gone back and forth, but it was fun. I'm going to do something that I think, if anybody's still listening after those two, we really went for it on those two.
Yeah, it's great. Loved it.
I'm going to try to win back the people that are still here, but kind of worried for me, by pronouncing that I love Catholicism more than another belief system.
Okay, good.
Are you ready for this?
Okay.
I think Satanism is stupid.
Hey, give this man a medal. What heroism. You said that in front of the public? Wow.
I won't deny Jesus in public, but I'll say that Satanism is bad in public. And it's live
so bad.
Kind of, when it's later. But I don't get it. And here's where I want to preface it. I'm not just like the random Catholic being like, "Hey, this belief system is stupid." Because let's start with Catholics believe different things. I can understand the Catholics on multiple sides of issues, even ones that I vehemently disagree with, right? So like lady priests. I don't think there can be lady priests, but I get where I get where these people are coming from. I can at least understand, and I think that helps me not be a jerk to people that I disagree with, right? Because I can get what you're saying. Equality is such a big thing. I can see that, right?
Sure.
Protestants. A lot of Catholics and Protestants fight. I don't fight with Protestants because I'm like, look, man, I get it. I get your belief system. I get that you don't like the Catholic Church. Most of us don't either. I can get it, right? Then the next level, the other monotheistic religions. Judaism, totally get. All of our heroes are Jewish. Why wouldn't I get it? I think they missed, the one important guy. But other than that, they're doing pretty well.
Decent track record.
Muslims, a lot of good stuff there. Belief in one God. Sure. Even understand. Now, those are the ones that I understand the most. And the further you get away from Catholicism, I think you start sympathizing a little less. But even if I was born in Pakistan, I'd probably be Muslim, right? I can understand, or not, I'd probably be Muslim. If I was born in India, I'd probably be, some other Eastern religion, right?
Hindu,
Buddhism, that sort of thing. I can understand that, the majority belief is I can get that, right?
Yeah.
That even then, if they believe in gods, multiple gods, even then, it's the belief in something bigger than us or many things bigger than us. There's I can understand parts of it, right?
Sure.
The church says that the Catholic Church has the fullness of truth, but almost every other belief system has some semblance of truth, right?
Little bits of truth. Some bigger bits than others, but yeah.
Right. The Hindus have kibbles and bits of truth. So
yes,
that's a Ja Rule reference. Because he's a dog. Okay. What would I do without my baby? So I get it. I get almost every. I even get agnosticism and atheism. I get it. I get you're I'm not sure if there's a God. I've had doubts. Agnostic. I'm not sure if there's a God or, something bad. I stubbed my toe. There is no God. I get it. I get it. Right. Yeah. Or, if I have a gun to my head, somebody's deny your faith. There is no God.
Right,
I get those, the belief system. I can understand a percentage of them, whether that percentage is small or large. The one I don't get, I don't get Satanism. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's the one belief system that I don't understand, because it's you're saying you're not agnostic or atheist. You're saying the devil is real and I worship him. If the devil is real, I don't understand how you can say the devil is real and God is not. So if you're a Satanist, God is the enemy, and so essentially Satanism is you're hey, all this stuff is real, and I'm going to choose the losing side. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be hey, this winning team over here, I'm going to do this. It's it would be the equivalent of being a Detroit Lions fan. You're I can be a fan of any team in the NFL, but I'm going to pick the Lions. That's
right. The obvious losing team.
It's a Ja Rule reference. I'm just kidding. It's a John Blevins reference.
Yeah.
So Satanism, don't get it. Not a fan.
Yeah. Well, a few things. One, there's different kinds of Satanism. I think it's the Church of Satan. They call themselves Satanists, but they're actually just atheist humanists. They don't actually believe in Satan as a power. It's like being a humanist, but also trying to troll Christians. So they call themselves Satanists. But if you look at their tenets, a lot of them you're oh, these are terrible things, because they don't actually worship Satan. It's just a troll. Okay, so that's Church of Satan.
They worship a troll?
Real Satanists, was that?
Nothing. Keep going.
It's a troll, not a troll.
No, it's
often those things get confused because listen to any part of the show. So
Satanist? You think I'm a Satanist?
No, your words. Anyway, only if there's a gun to your head. But I think we know the cosmology and the history of everything. God is all powerful, and he creates this being, Satan. God is going to win, right? But would the Satanists believe that? A lot of times, Satanists fall into this idea that God isn't all powerful, right? That it's kind of this equal good and evil side, and evil isn't really evil, just what we call it. So they think that Satan could win. Maybe it's that, that might be a thing. Another thing is there can be a weird sort of I don't want to make it sound cool, because this is what they'll use. It's rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It's just our will, just saying no, even if we lose. That's what we're doing, which is stupid. But it's a quality and an idea. It's actually an inversion of the Christian idea of the underdog. So Christianity, you have this idea of underdog. It's unexpected that this poor guy from Nazareth is actually God and actually ends up, basically overthrowing the world and the Roman Empire and sin and stuff, right? So there's in us this desire for the underdog. Satanists twist that. And so you think the underdog, the maligned one, the one that's been lied about, is Satan. So they're taking a Christian idea and twisting it in this very evil way. So those are some of the reasons why people might do this. Also, evil is stupid. Like, you can try to explain evil away, but actually evil's dumb. Like, it makes no sense. Like, choosing not God is actually incredibly stupid. So sometimes there really is no reason. It's just dumb. It's stupid. And you have to acknowledge that sometimes people are stupid. I know it's a big surprise, but
people aren't surprised after listening to me for the last 40 minutes.
yeah. So there you go. There's my take on my hot takes on Satanism, which I agree is dumb.
We finally agree on something.
You know what? This might be the lowest bar of agreement possible.
It's
okay. Would you agree that Satan is dumb?
I crafted this show on the way that it is on purpose. I knew those first two segments have just been like tugging at me, and I have so much to say right now. Like, anybody listening to the show knows that there was a season about 9, 8, 10 months ago. Like, I was just, I was honest with people. I was like, look, we're doing all these segments because games and stuff, because I got nothing else to say.
Yeah.
I have the next 4 shows, enough for the next 4 shows. And I knew that I had to talk about some of this stuff with you because I don't think any of the other co-hosts are smart enough to talk about those first two.
Thank
you. And then, but I was like, okay, I need an easy win because I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me. So I
really need to punch down for one segment. Who can I pick?
Literally punching down. So
yeah,
it was planned. All of this was planned. I knew that a lot of people would. I think a lot of people will agree with me. And if nothing else, even if everybody's angry with me after those 2 first segments, I think I was the voice for the voiceless. I think a lot of people have thought those things before. So you're welcome.
Yeah, no, I will agree with that.
You're welcome, world.
Yeah. But also it's important to know that there are actually real Satanists in the world who will try to curse people, will try to destroy church property. It happens all around the place, even where it's happened in my diocese before.
It happened to your house before.
It happened in my house before. Yeah, that might have been just some punk kids. Who knows? But yeah,
let's be real. Most punk kids are Satanists for a little
right.
while.
Right. And also, I mean, this is kind of obvious, but you can serve Satan unwillingly. If you're like, oh, I'm a good witch who uses white magic for good. No, you're serving Satan. It's that's the Catholic understanding of that.
You leave WandaVision alone.
Oh no, Wanda's going to hell. Yeah. Yeah. Doctor Strange, straight to hell. No magic.
We'll close with this. I do like. I saw this meme the other day. It's with everything that's happened in the Marvel universe the last 6 months leading to the multiverse. And it just said that Doctor Strange texted one time in a car, and now he has to solve a multiversal war. I thought it was very silly. But anyway.
If texting is that bad, just imagine what denying Jesus does.
Well, leave me alone.
Gotcha.
I would, again, like to close the show now by saying Satanists. Not a fan. Not a fan of Satanists. So, anyway. That's what I got to say. Hey, 250 episodes! We did
it! Maybe the last one. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Oh, no. I've got at least 6 more already recorded and scheduled to go out soon. So you'll have to deal with me for at least 6 more weeks.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Well, that's going to be it. And you know what? It's not going to be it. I want you to, vamp for 60 seconds, okay?
Yeah. So the thing is that Taylor's actually really jealous of my hair. He tries to say I look homeless, whatever.
Okay, you're done. You're done. I'm tired of hearing that already. But I got what I need, okay? Here's how we're ending. Today, I was late for this recording. You were very gracious. Usually I'm always on time. But you can put that blame put it on me. Because usually, we're having a great time and we're just living it up. Sometimes I say things and you like to clap back. And sometimes we fight off the air, and that's just between me and you. with the Satanists in the world. They just want to watch the world burn, so that murder reigns. And I skipped all the ones that were cuss words in the title. That was like 18 Ja Rule songs. So
I knew that's what you were doing.
I know you did.
I've not listened to one Ja Rule song, and I knew exactly what you were doing.
Oh man, I hate that guy so much. I'll be back next week. See ya. I love the shows when I'm exhausted and I have no filter whatsoever.
It was so funny because, like, as you were getting ready to close the show, I'm like, if he doesn't end it with a Ja Rule reference, I have to call it a Ja Rule reference. So you have to keep the gimmick going one more time.
Very silly.
Oh, worth the wait.
Thank you guys so much for enjoying today's podcast. I'm glad that you made it through. What an episode we had. It was so much fun to record. That's one of the things. It's like my hope is that you guys enjoy listening to these, but we really, really do enjoy recording them. So if you did like today's show, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you are listening to the podcast. You can connect with us throughout the week at Forte Catholic on Twitter and at Taylor Schroll on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be back next week. Bye.